Before I start this video, I want to give a short disclaimer, because Musk hasn't spoken too much about his plans to colonize Mars. Probably he wants to get the Starship project done before investing brainpower in these plans, even though there's some information about the colonization. And it is always fun to fantasize about what could happen. So let's get right into it. The first unmanned mission in 2022 will arrive at a landing zone which is located at 40 degrees latitude. This is the case because at this position the opportunity to produce high solar power is the biggest. Also, the temperature is at its maximum. The objectives for the first mission are confirming water resources, identify hazards, deploy solar arrays, mining, installation of life support infrastructure, and to deliver Mars vehicles. In the second mission, which is scheduled for 2024, 12 crew members will arrive at Mars. Here are the objectives: building landing pads, assemble a greenhouse, and installing a Proppellant depot, at which we take a closer look soon. The further missions, which aren't yet planned in detail, will deliver construction material to build a transparent dome for crop growth and a lot of miner and tunneling droids to mine rooms for industrial operations. Producing propellant on Mars is critical for the reusability of the Starship. Because of that, Musk plans to synthesize liquid oxygen and methane as rocket propellant from the local supply of atmospheric carbon dioxide and ground-accessible water ice. This is possible through the Sabatier process. A study by SpaceX estimates that the propellant plant is required to mine water ice and filter its impurities at a rate of 1 ton per day. Another problem is that for the process, electricity is needed. To produce the power of one load in 26 months would require approximately 1 megawatt of continuous electric power. A ground-based area of thin solar panels to produce sufficient power would have an area of 56,000 square meters. With related equipment, the required mass is estimated to fall well within a single Starship mass transport capable of 150 metric tons. This seems like a lot, but split it over 3 to 4 cargo flights, it is not that big of a deal. The long-term goals are for inhabitants to not only live on Mars as guests, but to have flourishing social life and work life, much like on Earth. This would require companies, governments, and other economic actors so that the growth of the human presence on Mars in a healthy way is secured. But with a maximum of 100 people per flight to Mars, the Starship, and an average of 115 days transit time, this seems at the time out of reach. Besides that, plays the cost of a one-way trip to Mars a major role. Musk says that it would approximately cost $500,000 per person, but the price will go down to $200,000. Also, it comes to mind that every person have to produce an incredible amount of productivity, because the inhabitants would have to recreate an Earth-like industrial base, including refining and mining materials, and that without oxygen or oil. A major concern is space radiation on the trip to Mars and on the surface on Mars. At the time, there is not enough research to conclude the long-term effects. Moreover, Mars has less mass than the Earth, so that the gravity on Mars is only 38% of the gravity on Earth. Bill Nye compares Mars to Antarctica. It's a good place to do research, but not for something like raising a family. If you look back in history, there are many cases where people thought something is impossible and then someone just did it. And you don't have to look way back. In 2008, no one thought that an electric car company could make it in the middle-class car industry. Now it is almost commonplace, and it changed the entire industry. Or take a look at landing rockets. Before 2015, people thought that it's stupid to even try it. Now, almost every 30 days, a rocket landing happens. I am a big believer that the history will repeat itself. If you don't try, you will never know if it is possible. So, to all the critics out there, you are not a great help.